The old saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it's amazing how something as simple as a smiley face or the picture like this can say so much. In fact, emojis can not only relay a message, but they can also be used to teach all sorts of lessons from reading to science. In this episode of Dice Up the Classroom, I will be showing you some of the many ways you can use an emoji with your students from grading to coding in the classroom. So get ready to get Emojinal. Episode 8 for August 25th. Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Reed and welcome to Dice Up the Classroom, where we talk about some of the many ways you can roll out learning using technology. A couple of months ago, I was shown emoji grading by John Smith, where he had created the concept of using emojis instead of the typical letter grading or point system with students. As we all know, letter grades can sometimes be scary to a student when they see a letter grade, and it doesn't matter if it's an A or an F. Sometimes when a student scores an A on an assignment, they worry they'll never make that high mark again, or feel the world is come in on them if they get something like a C or below. However, if you turn those around to something like a smiley face with sunglasses, a thumbs up, or a... they not only find the emoji as a better form of grading, but also become more accepting of the grading, but also want to continue to achieve or improve on their work. Using emojis instead of the classic letter or point grading system isn't really new. It's actually a digital sticker for students, similar to when they receive a good job sticker or a stamp that says, way to go. Something that a thumbs up shows better than a B plus or related grade. I know my teachers back when I was in elementary used stickers instead of letter grades or points until I entered 4th grade when the elementary honor roll system began. That way, at report card time, we weren't surprised to see what the letter grade we received as a result. You can do it the same way, and finding your emoji keyboard is really simple. If you're on an iOS or Android device, just go to your keyboard and click on the globe icon, and from there you will open your emojis. If you're on a Mac, hit the Control, Command, and Space bar at the same time to bring up your emojis, and then simply click and add. If you're on a Windows or Chromebook, simply head over to your Settings tab, click on Keyboards, and add the emoji keyboard, just like you were to add another language keyboard to it. Of course, if you use a Chromebook or Chrome browser, simply head over to the Chrome store and put the emoji add-on to your menu. Just click on the emoji that appears on your browser tab and add the emojis one at a time, or select several and copy and paste. Your emojis are going to look different depending on the platform, and if you want to create your emoji grading system with your students, select a few that you like the most and use a polling system like Poll Anywhere or Poll Daddy, and have students pick out the ones they like the most and build your grading system and emojis from there. There is no right or wrong way to do it, and it's just using what works best for you and your students, especially when they are involved in the grading system. Speaking of different emojis, many of you have seen me use my favorite Star Trek emoji on my iPhone or iPad and wonder, how did I do that? It's pretty simple. Just find your favorite emoji, copy it, and then add it to your keyboard as a shortcut. Simply tap, paste, and then name the shortcut, and it will appear when you're typing a message. You can do this with almost every emoji you find, as some have expire dates, but if you find the one and you can reuse it, you can use the limited emojis for lessons. Take the Vulcan salute, for instance. Students can do an entire research report on it. You don't know it was a Yiddish greeting centuries ago. Students can do a research on a limited emoji, what it's based on, how it ended up being used, and why it's an emoji now. Speaking of reports with emojis, something I love doing with my students is having them use emojis to give reports on the space program. And while there's only a handful of emojis that are actually space-based, that doesn't stop students from creating their own emojis for the reports. Apps such as Sketch, Piccollage, Over, and Explain Everything can take existing emojis and layer them on top of each other and group them together to create something amazing. Take the recent Pluto flyby from New Horizons. As much as I wish there was a New Horizons or Pluto emoji, that doesn't stop me from making my own for a space report. I'll use Explain Everything as an example. I create a new screencast and then take different emojis and layer them over each other to create my NASA space probe and everyone's favorite dwarf planet with a big heart. Using the magnifying and drawing tools to fill in any gaps in the creation, and then using Explain Everything's rotation and movement tools to recreate the Pluto flyby with your emojis. And speaking of layering, using apps like Sketch or Over, you can make your own emoji info pics. How many times do you have it where students can spell a word but don't know what it really means? Use a picture with a few emojis and students can understand their words even more. What I like to call an emoji info pic. Images that use emojis to express a story, word, or situation. You can use emojis as part of the vocabulary centers with apps such as Stick Around, WordWall, or Quizlet to use emojis with your weekly vocabulary words. Use a set of emojis that best represent a word and then have students match them with the correct word or vice versa. Speaking of vocabulary words, you can teach students types of government and situations by group various emojis together along with the word and dice things up a bit by making it an animated presentation along with sound effects and movements. It's a great way to teach students lessons in a different way using emojis, and they don't have to be just for vocabulary. You can also take pictures of something like an empty table or a place in the classroom and overlay emojis that complete the picture. Take this snapshot I did of the state of Illinois. Usually when you have a map like this, it's usually on a weather report on the local news. Take the map and overlay emojis that show the weather for the areas. You can even use geotags and overlay them with emojis about the wildlife or sites in the area. It's a fun way to teach students about geography and research using emojis, but that's only the beginning. You can also teach young readers using emojis. For years, first reader books have used pictures such as a heart or a rabbit for new readers, without having them sound out more complex words until they were ready. An example would be creating a short reading exercise such as, "See Tyler run." "See the horse run, Tyler." The emoji of the horse helps the students read the sentence continuously without them pausing or trying to sound out the word. The word horse is because they might not be able to read the word horse, but they know what a horse looks like and hence can continue reading. If you're a one-to-one classroom, you can use apps like Seesaw to create daily reading lists or make them in a Google Doc and then send it to a student's devices with sound using chirp or tone. These are the two best apps to use in a one-to-one classroom for early or delayed readers, since they can insert emojis with just a tap of the screen or keyboard without needing to do any other shortcuts. It's a great way for students to develop and enhance their reading skills, and you don't have to stop there. You want to create a student assessment or exit tickets? Try using Plickers or Kahoot. You can create questions using emojis like the phases of the moon or various flags of the world in your classroom, and then have students answer the questions accordingly. What's great about using Plickers or Kahoot is they work on any platform and for any classroom. If your students blog or love to share their links on social networks, you can set up their links with Linkmoji. This awesome link shortener turns your links into clickable emojis that you can copy and paste from everything from a Google slide to Remind. It's a simple but fun way to use emojis in the classroom with your students or with your fellow teachers. Moving from links and info pics, you can also use emojis for coding. While many programs like Swift, Stencil, and HTML use emojis from command codes to image inserts, they can be used with such device drones like Sphero, Dot and Dash, and more. One I'm using with my students this year is creating a Lego maze with Sphero. Students will pick their favorite emojis and then build a maze that looks like a boot or a set of hands to guide their little bot through the maze using apps like Tickle or Phero's native app. It's a fantastic STEAM activity that boosts students' creativity and self-reflection. You can also use your emojis for a music makey-makey project. Have students roll an emoji app dice, or use a random selector for your emojis. Have students string together the various emojis together and then use Soundflower or Scratch to create musical sounds that reflect what each emoji represents. Don't have something like a makey-makey or even a Raspberry Pi? Use simple music apps like GarageBand or Piano Keys to make your music symphony. After all, music not only moves us, but also inspires our creativity. Using emojis can really bring a new type of learning to your students, from understanding the 5 senses to teaching sequences and making stories come to life. Emojis come in several varieties and on any platform, and they're just plain fun. And you can really roll out learning for everyone. All you have to do is give it a try. If you want to see examples of ways to use emojis in the classroom, head over to #emojigrading at emojigrading.weebly.com or look for some right here on Dice Up the Classroom. That's going to do it for this episode. If you want to know more about the Emoji Classroom or emoji grading, please look up my fellow educators: John Smith, Dina Glenn, Jason Sand, Cheryl Stagner, Carolyn Skibba, Don Gobble, Julie Jacobs, and Mike Lewis. Or on Twitter under the #emojigrading or emoji classroom. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time right here on Dice.